The future is here. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. A Hot 100 chart, updated daily. The most accurate price guide on the market. Every card has its own profile with a wealth of information. Know the precise, real-time value of any card in the system. On demand. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.
Hola, merge.
Yo, yo.
What's up, Josh?
What's up, Chris? I'm doing mail days real quick.
Yeah,
we're
go
just
for it. Go.
Waiting. I got this guy in this. I think I've shown most of these. I got this guy in this week in a trade. Pretty sick card.
Nice. Very nice.
I have the field level. I do like that guy. I got this from Grant, Waldorf Stories. I think these are kind of cool. Numbered to 99, on card, pretty rare. Super cheap compared to Prism.
Ooh.
I actually bought another one of these today.
Ooh. Why don't you talk a little bit about why you picked that one up?
So 2012 National Treasures has the dual rookie class. So they made the NTs at a 199, and they're horizontal. But then this is the first year of Immaculate. And these are at a 99 vertical. So to me, these could be considered more of the true RPA because of the 99 thing, which I think is important to the lineage of RPA, with starting with LeBron at a 99. And like the patch window is smaller, I think is the biggest detractor, but I think it's a nice looking card, and they're like a third of the price of NT, and they're twice as rare. So I don't know, I just bought it to zag a little, and then I had like 400 eBay bucks and an eBay gift card and a beer tonight, so I was like, let's buy another one.
Dude, those are so much cheaper than something like Prism Silver too, which we know has an estimated print run of like 180 to 200, so that's half as rare as even the Prism Silver too.
So I've always liked the whole like shiny thing, like when I first got into the hobby, it was like I liked the shiny stuff more than the patch auto stuff. And the shiny stuff was a lot cheaper. It was a little bit more fun to collect for me, so I bought a lot of that, and that's what I did. And then now the shiny stuff is like outpacing the patch autograph stuff in some cases, other than like the main NT RPAs, obviously, but like the gold Prism, arguably could be more expensive than an NT RPA, and I kind of think the pendulum has shifted a little bit too far in a lot of cases, where it's like this is still a piece of jersey and an autograph from the player on card. Like, he's touched this card. There's got to be some extra value to that. So this one says event worn, which is lame, but whatever.
It's got some shine to it too. The foil looks nice.
Yeah, so I mean, there's still like, it's kind of this whole zag thing again, where it's like I collected all the shiny stuff, but then now I'm kind of going back to the patch autograph stuff because everyone's all over the shiny stuff, and it's like a little bit too expensive. So you got to kind of just like keep doing the opposite of what everyone else is doing, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like to put that into context, you could get maybe 4, 5, 6 of those for the cost of like a Giannis Prism Silver PSA 10, basically.
It just seems silly when you say it like that. BGS return, I got Mahomes blue. These are the retail blues, and these are rumored to be out of like 5. They're not numbered, but they're extremely rare. Probably the rarest Prism card you can get, other than like the vinyl, which is out of 5 as well. And then also the blue shimmer 9.5, and these are out of 9. So pretty These two are pretty sweet. I haven't shown these yet. I'll post them. I just got these back from BGS.
Very nice.
Another Lamar Silver. Still grabbing Lamar stuff. That's it. Let's get started.
Nice. All right, let me tease something. We are giving away these cello packs, 2019-20 Prism. Last time I looked, these were going for around $40 to $50. These are being given away once a week now. We already gave away 7 last week, and thank you to everybody who participated in the giveaway. We're giving away one of these every week now. All you have to do to qualify is just post a picture of you adding a card to your collection on Card Ladder and make sure that you tag Card Ladder. That's all you got to do. Get a nice, valuable pack. You can flip it. You can rip it. You can sit on it, wait until the playoffs start, whatever you want to do. Just wanted to tease that at Card Ladder for more information on that.
Excellent.
Who doesn't want to get a nice pack in the mail just for posting a picture to Instagram? What's up, Frankie? Okay.
Dude, Frankie's all over that ladder.
Oh, Frankie is a ladder master.
He is.
This is the crossover. It's July 3rd, 2020, but in some segments of our great country, it is July 4th. And so allow me to say happy 4th of July to our friends on the East Coast. What's up, Sports Cards 2333? Happy 4th of July. Josh, are you celebrating the 4th already?
I am. I got my brewski. We got big plans tomorrow at the house. My son is like extremely excited. There's no fireworks here. They've been canceled, but we're going to watch them on TV and barbecue some burgers and hang out. USA, that's right.
USA. What's up, Aussie Luca? Doc, how are you doing, sir? Okay. So first question is from 23 over _elo, another ladder master, if I may say so. And I saw him jump in the chat. Usually he doesn't stay up to catch these because he's on the East Coast, but I saw him in here. What's up, Sports Appraisals? And so he said this, is there any chance that you can pull in Jordan cards tonight? We have not heard from the Cuz lately. And guess what? I have some good news for you. Jordan cards is here. We're actually, what's it called, Josh, when a bunch of, computer bros get together and start like hacking all night, like a hackathon or something?
It is 100% called a hackathon. You nailed it.
Okay, well, we're having a card adathon over here because we got Christina adding boxes, actually. Brian is here adding cards. I'm adding cards to the ladder. But we're taking a break. Brian, the people want to hear from you, man. Say what's up.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing? I've been busy over here adding a lot of cards, so you probably haven't seen me on Instagram too much, but I'm just knee-deep in adding cards to the ladder.
There we go. What's up, Adam Lefko? Thank you, sir. Okay, so there we hear from the man himself, Jordan cards. All right, first topic. This one I came up with. I want to talk a little bit about the amount of money that's being spent in the hobby right now because it's very, very serious. And I think it's going to make people really take notice when they kind of see the data. And I'm not talking about people in the hobby. I'm talking about people outside of the hobby. So over the last 3 days through Card Ladder, we've tracked $1,067,000 worth of sales of sports cards. $1,067,000 worth of sales in sports cards over the last 3 days. Mr. September says, yes, please talk about it. We do need to talk about it because that's a lot of money being spent on sports cards in 3 days. A lot. Now, of course, that number is a little bit, well, it's a lot inflated because a big PWCC auction ended a night ago. But nonetheless, over $1 million spent on cards over 3 days that we're tracking. What's your first take to that, your first reaction?
Well, I mean, my first reaction is that's like a fraction of it because we're not tracking every card. I would have guessed the real figure is like, I don't know, 5 to 10 million in the last 3 days. It's crazy, man. It's insanity. I don't even know. I can't put it into words anymore. Just like how much cards have grown in the last 6 months. It's just insane. I used to have like a feeling of, I could wrap my arms around the hobby. Like I had my channel. There wasn't a ton of content out there when I started. So I could really like sense the entire hobby, and now it's just like totally gotten away from me. Like it's so big that it's not even any one person anymore. The hobby is just so massive. There's so many people buying and selling cards and trading that no one person is, uh, is the hobby anymore. It's just it's humongous.
Yeah, no, it's totally out of control in an interesting way. I don't mean that pejoratively. We were talking to a journalist today who's doing a piece on the hobby, and he was interviewing us and asking us some questions. And one of the things that he was absolutely captivated by was just the sheer amount of money that's being spent in the hobby. And he said, I've been looking at Card Lab and seeing how much money and sales you guys are tracking. And he's like, dude, listen, man, people are going to, outside of the hobby, are going to start taking notice
Yeah,
how much
yeah.
money is flowing into the hobby. It's just unavoidable at this point. The hobby has been a really well-kept secret for a long time, but I don't know. I think those days are limited. Like you said, dude, when we first started making House of Jordans, it was Cardboard Chronicles and it was 90s b-ball cards. Those were the two YouTube channels. You know what I mean? And now there's a ton of great content out there. I finally officially reached the point where I can't even keep up with all of it.
Nope, you can't. I was thinking about Jake's last episode where he's talking about that graph that we talked about last week, where it's like, just what you just said, where like people outside the hobby, because there's so much money being spent, they're gonna see those numbers, and there's gonna be more and more articles. They're gonna hear podcasts. I was thinking about like, I bet you like Bill Simmons is gonna bring it up soon. Like it's just gonna get to his desk, and there's just no way to avoid it, or it's gonna get to like Colin Cowherd or like ESPN is like when this LeBron parallel sells for whatever over $1 million. It's already over $1 million. When that thing sells, it's going to hit more, news. It's going to hit more articles and blogs and stuff. And eventually, we're going to get to a point where it's in front of a lot more people's eyes, and it could hit mania because of how valuable this stuff is, how much money's being spent, and then it's going to hit more eyeballs soon. So it just feels like. It still feels like we're in the early stages, and like you said, it's still a little bit of a secret. It's just not going to last much longer.
Probably not. So what does that mean? Does that mean you better stock up now?
Yeah, I don't. I still think that the rare cards are going to be the secret next, because like we've already seen this first wave of new investors that come in. They still don't know about the rare stuff. They're still just gobbling up kind of like the basic stuff. But then on these, auctions, we're still seeing the rare stuff keep those multipliers up. Like you and I are seeing things hold true to the ratios towards the base cards across the board. So, I could be wrong about that, but when it hits Mania, I still think there's a lot of room to zag and a lot of different rare things that nobody's caught on to yet. There's always going to be that. It's just going to keep getting a little bit harder and harder, and things are going to get more optimized and tougher. But, the people that are in this and have been in it for real for a while still have a leg up on the new folks coming in. So just, be cautious, but also like be ready to make some moves and like start, I don't want to say taking advantage of, but like using your knowledge to further move yourself forward when this new wave hits.
Absolutely. Getting to some comments real quick. Real Secondhand Heat says, when are normal cards worth $1 to $20 going to be added to Card Ladder? It seems like it only caters to cards that are unattainable to the common man. Well, we definitely hear you. And we are working on a number of different solutions to try and address that particular topic. And one of the solutions, of course, is if you are a member, and we sincerely appreciate our members, feed us a couple cards every few days. And if you feed us cards in that range, we'll take a serious look at them. So just bear with us, feed us cards. But we have some ideas in the works for maybe how to get more of those level of cards into the system for sure. Sports Appraisal says people are spending eBay bucks today. I got a notification today about my eBay bucks, and I started frantically looking for things to buy as well. Josh, you said you did the same thing today too. Good point. I look forward to seeing what the daily sales total on the ladder is tonight after we run our stats. So good point. Frankie 3500 says petty cash. Yeah, maybe not. Aussie Lucas says more people buying or more money per buyer or both. Yeah, both, but
Well,
definitely more people, I think, is
yeah.
the big part of this.
It seems like a lot of people are rich though. Like just in America, like the economy is just very strong, even with all this stuff going on. Jobs are kicking back up. It just seems like there's a lot of people that have a lot of money, and those people are coming into the hobby, and it's just like hitting us all real hard
It
in a
is.
good way.
It is. Stefan says, nothing like a global pandemic and record levels of unemployment to spark the hobby. Well, I talked to Dr. James Beckett not long ago, and he was explaining to me, I said, what's the closest analog basically to this COVID moment? And he said it was Black Friday in 1987. When that stock market crashed, he said he and his researchers noticed that vintage cards began doubling. And his theory is that anytime that there's instability in traditional financial markets, people look to cards. But it's tricky though, because we don't want to fall into the pitfall of saying that, like, no matter what happens, cards go up. So like, if the economy's great and the stock market's great, guess what? Cards go up. If the economy's not doing so well and the stock market goes down, guess what? Cards go up. Because if we're saying that, we're not actually offering an explanation of anything. All we're saying is just, hey, cards just keep going up no matter what. So,
Yeah.
what maybe an interesting thought experiment is where would cards be at if we never had a global pandemic, if we never had COVID-19 hit us and rock the world the way that it did? Because as I look at graphs and price trends of cards in early March, cards were taking off, and only recently have cards returned to those early March levels. So maybe cards would be even crazier right now if not for the pandemic.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I don't even think the pandemic is the main reason for cards going up. Someone made a comment that I want to address. I don't understand what people do to spend 5 to 10K on cards. Like it's nothing. What do I need to do? I totally hear that, and that's a comment I hear a lot. And that's a lot to do with like social media. You follow the accounts that kind of have those expensive cards, and it can be a little bit it's tough to see that kind of stuff when you personally can't afford some of it. And all of us have that, no matter what range we're buying, because it's all relative. There's always someone that's buying way crazier, more expensive stuff than you, no matter what you're buying at. And so just try to like remain focused on what you can afford, and try not to get bogged down in social media. Because like if you think about social media, not even just in cards, but in regular life, people are always posting things that make them look the best on every single day. They're posting pictures that make them look the best that day. So just try not to let that affect you and keep moving forward. And someone else said, I think many ladder up. So that my response is like, a lot of people that are spending that kind of money are people that have been collecting for a while and are using the money that they've earned on stuff they bought before to like move up and consolidate or get more expensive cards, or just keep like rolling their profits forward into more cards. We're seeing a lot of that, and I know that's true for me as well.
Well said. So KP2 card says Adam Lefko is in here. Holy shit. Adam Lefko says it's the purest sports stock market that exists. I just want to riff on that for just a second. I totally agree with that. The stock market and the trading of stocks and companies and businesses was a much more culturally relevant phenomenon 100 years ago, 150, 200 years ago, when financial markets were developing into what they currently are today. Nowadays, sports are extremely culturally relevant, and they provide a common language and a common currency through which we can exchange with each other. And I think what you're seeing with the shift, not just to cards, but to collectibles, is that people are interested in putting their money into things that are fun and that they understand. And I think your guest, Josh, on Cardboard Chronicles from My Slabs, he had said that, here's what's great about sports cards. Here's your homework. In order to do well at sports cards, all you have to do is watch sports.
I love that so much.
That sums it up in a nutshell. And then you combine the fact that there's a vigorous, vibrant marketplace that allows people to engage in. It almost has a video game aspect to it. You can just pull out your phone. You can play this sports card game anytime you want. Your friends are always on because people from all over the world are doing this. We all have it in common. So
Yeah.
it really is a very exciting way to engage financially and as a collector and as a sports enthusiast.
Yeah, if you think about, I think Brent talked about it in one of my past interviews, like you have like, let's just say the mailman, someone that the mailman wants to invest his money, from his day job, and he traditionally looks at stocks, and in order to enter into that, he's got to get like, some sort of like financial advisor. He's got to like go through these hoops, and he's got to figure out what to do, and he doesn't actually care about it. It's just about money. What if you tell that mailman, hey, you can make money and you can do it by investing in sports, which in general is something he's more interested in, this like example person. And it just is like you said, it just kind of connects to a lot more people than stocks do or other traditional investments where it's purely about money, whereas this is emotional and financial.
It is. And there's a really fun level playing field because we all know sports, no matter what background, no matter what walk of life we come from, no matter what economic tier we are in, we all know and watch the same sports. And we can all make moves and participate in the sports card market. And it's just our knowledge, our taste, our wisdom against somebody else's. Jay Lee, shout out Jeremy. Thank you for having me on Sports Cards Live, my friend. Thank you for coming on. House of Jordans. He says 1.067 million. Cool news headline. Do you post that daily in the news feed on Card Letter? Yes, we do, sir. Frankie 3500 says the bet, and that's just the part of the hobby that can be tracked. Private sales could easily triple that. Terrific points. Terrific point. eBay has become less and less important, or less and less of a portion of the sports card market now than ever before. There's lots of competing platforms. Oh, let's see. Okay, let's go ahead. There's lots of comments coming in. Okay, let's move on to the next topic here, unless you have any other comments you want to address, Josh.
Nope.
Okay. Next topic. This is coming from Chasing Exquisite 03. I like this question because it's a tough one. He says, with Luka and LeBron cards rising so fast, are you buying for your collections right now?
Yes, but like way more infrequently and selectively. So like you haven't probably seen me post a LeBron card that I've bought in a while because like the ones that I want to get at this point are just really expensive, and I wish I could just go buy them all, but I can't. So I have to be extremely patient and selective and use profits from selling other cards that I've bought through the time. So usually what I'll do is like I'll buy some cards that I think are undervalued or that I think can go up, and then I'll sort of like build up a nice pile of things, and then it gets to a point where I have enough where I can turn, pieces of it into like a LeBron card for my PC, and I'll do it at that point. Like I did that with the Gold Prism recently, and I really haven't bought any PC cards since that one because that's an expensive card, and the next one I want is expensive as well. So it's like you just gotta time it. Probably the same for you, right?
It's exactly the same. The Luka, prism color and stuff is just, I mean, man, 20 grand is gonna get you into, a Mojo PSA 10 or an orange or something like that. And it's just like, okay, time for me to look elsewhere because I know when I'm out of my league and those prices are when I'm out of my league. And so I look for stuff like this. This is a beautiful Threads rookie 1/1 Luka. Picked it up for like a couple $100, maybe 500 or $600. I don't think it's that cheap anymore, but now I'll just look for other cheap things too that I can kind of put my stamp on, that I can kind of make unique and make part of my, it's my Zag. Luka 1/1s is my Zag. So that's what I try to do. And, you just have to be patient. Like it doesn't hurt you to be patient necessarily. I mean, we all know that lately it's been much better to have any cards than cash. So like, I don't like to have cash lying around. I'd rather have it in cards, but I also try to be patient. And so something that's coming up here is the NBA playoffs. People are frantically buying, same thing happened. Some great Michael Jordan collectors just started buying everything in sight right at the height of Last Dance Mania. And it was like, guys, just, hold off. Just, I know that the passion of the moment is like driving you to want to buy Jordans right now, and I get it. I get it because we do this because we love it, because it's fun, because we are emotionally pulled to cards and to collecting. But dude, just hold off for a few months, and that's kind of how I feel about certain cards in the market right
now. 23 over Elo. Sorry, I'm butchering his name. 23 over Elo. He said Luka color or 20K. I think he's probably being a little bit of tongue in cheek there, but obviously it's the Jambalaya.
Jambalaya all day long, baby, all day long. But find me a Jambalaya 9.5 for under 30K right now. I don't know if you could do it. I don't know if you could do it. Frankie says, got to be patient, and you have to know what to buy and when. Well said. Grant says he's feeling attacked right now.
Grant, finally on alive, my friend. Hit me with some funny stuff, funny man.
David says, I try to buy a couple investment cards every time I buy. Oh, the chat is moving too fast. I try to buy a couple of investment cards every time I buy a longer-term hold PCP so I can keep a consistent cash flow going. That's the level to be on, my friend.
Yeah, dude. He's thinking 3 steps ahead there.
Sports Hobbyist says, my hardest problem in the hobby is getting cards that I love that 2 to 4x. I'm a bad investor. You are in good company, sir. That's
just the player you pick. If that's your problem, just think about the player you're buying, and that'll solve that problem. I know that that's not really solving your problem of I like this player and I want to keep buying him, so don't worry about that. But if your goal is to collect and invest, just change the player. 2019 LeBron Prism Lakers sell during playoffs. I hear this question a lot, and people are asking me if and people don't want to sell stuff right now because they're waiting for the playoffs. I just do whatever you think. I mean, I don't know that any of us really know if the stuff will go up, if the Lakers are going to win the championship. We're all just sort of speculating. If you want to gamble and think the Lakers are going to win the championship, then hold, and if not, sell now. I don't think there's really a wrong answer there.
Definitely. SRT Collectibles wants an answer to, are we having an NFL season? Well, I wish we knew the answer to that question, but
I think so.
I think so, but it's too early to call that one. I think I'd be patient and hold on for a second.
Hansel, Chewbacca of the hobby. Rodman's waiting for me to hype Trey to dump my junk.
Oh, that's funny. What's up, Card Fiend? You know what? Trey doesn't need any hyping, guys. Something super interesting has been happening with Trey's market. So we all know how the hobby adjusts. And it's really just a matter of who's on whose radar within the hobby. Because as soon as Tatum and Luka started just going nuts, and Devin Booker started going nuts, and Donovan Mitchell started going nuts, and a lot of cards started going nuts. And Dwight Howard started going nuts. And Trae Young cards were lagging behind relative to how he had fit into the hierarchy or the scheme just a few months ago. And what do you know? Boom. All of a sudden, his Prism Silver PSA 10s hit 4-figureville. But you know what card has actually been performing better than his Prism Silver PSA 10 is the Prism Silver Raw. And that card is currently number 11 on the ladder. It's up like $250 over the past 2 weeks or something like that. Maybe it's closer to 200. It's currently trading at around $400. So, Trey is going up right now, Rodman. So if you need to dump that junk, baby, do it now.
Yeah. David dropping more knowledge. When you buy a card, have a ceiling in mind, and if the ceiling hits, sell it. Yeah, that's very unemotional, and just get your sell targets in mind and sell instead of trying to wait for some event that may never occur.
Indeed. Aruna Jr. says numbered cards or base cards for the PC. I think you know the answer to that one, my friend.
Frankie 3500. Someone asked PSA or BGS. I mean, the first and most obvious thing is if you think it's going to get a PSA 10, send it to PSA. If you think it's still mint, but it won't get a PSA 10, go for the 9.5. If it's PC, whatever slab you like more.
Absolutely. Love high-end golf basketball says, I found that jumping from autos into game used was a great way to go as long as the game used is rare in a Mojo card. I mean, that is definitely a very robust sector of the hobby. I don't think you'll find much disagreement there.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning of the show, the shiny stuff is getting a little bit too much love recently, and I'm swinging back towards the game used autograph stuff a little bit just because I think that the pendulum swung too far. It's just my opinion.
So Jordan Hagdorn says, J.R. Smith rookies. You know, you say that you look. I don't actually. You know, this is where we are. I don't know if that's a joke or not. I'm scared to add like his PSA 10 key rookie card to the ladder and just tomorrow morning it's number one. I worry about things like this.
And people forget the finals where he literally didn't know the score. Like people are like, oh, they got J.R. Smith. Dude, Avery Bradley is a much better player than J.R. Smith. Otherwise, they would have had J.R. Smith instead of Avery Bradley. Like, it's a huge downgrade. The guy is like super old. He wasn't even on a team. I'm not excited about the J.R. Smith move. It's just to fill the role of Avery Bradley, hit a couple threes. Like, come on. The guy, he couldn't even remember the freaking score.
Yeah. No comment on that. Sad but true. I think LeBron had a decent shot in those finals had that game gone the other way. Sad.
Change topics.
Indeed. Rodman says ceilings can be tricky. I sold my Curry Topps rookie refractor BGS 95 for $1,100. Oh no! A couple of years later, it's a
probably took the $1,100 and bought a LeBron and bought a Jordan.
Yeah, that's right, Rodman. What's the other part of this story, bro?
Yeah, dude, you probably bought like a sick Jordan card that's worth 10x that.
Probably. Adam Lefko says, what happens to Luka Silver long term? Well, I've been seeing sales of Luka Prism Silver PSA 10s come in, and I had to delete 2 out of our database because they were just too suspicious. One sold allegedly for $3,750 and another for $3,300. One was a best offer, and the other one was an auction. And I'm worried that market might be being manipulated a little bit right now. I'm very skeptical of some of the eBay comps. I think that card is very iconic. I think it's one of the most important Prism Silvers ever made. I think it's one of the cards that's responsible for Prism Silver becoming even a more important card over the last few years. But like at the same time, I don't know. I think there's a lot of copies of it out there, and I think that there's a lot of value to be had in other areas of Luka collecting. It's a tough question. If you would have asked me, did I think Luka Silver Prism PSA 10 could be 3,000 right now, which it is, I would have said no, probably not. But here we are. So great question. I don't know, Josh, what do you think?
Do you have a vintage question coming up, or can I go on the rant right now?
Go on the rant.
Okay, so David's got me looking into the vintage stuff, and I've been doing some research, and I've been adding vintage cards to the ladder. If you've seen those, that's me adding those. And the Luka Silver Prism kind of triggers me to talk about this because there are more PSA 10 Luka Silver Prisms than the entire rookie card population of basically every player combined. So what I mean by that is like, just take like Dr. J. Go look at Dr. J's rookie card. Look at the population. It's his only rookie card. He has one rookie card, and unless you want to. So this is like the 79 tops, and the PSA 10 is a pop 1. So Dr. J literally has one PSA 10 rookie card, and Luka has like 50 million. So if you take the total sum of all of these different rookie cards that Luka has, it's probably in the millions. All these different base cards, all these variations, all these different companies and prints, and it's ridiculous. And if you look at vintage, Dr. J has one card, and he has like a few thousand of them in the PSA pop. So just kind of think about that for the long term. If you're thinking about like, oh, I'm going to load up and buy a ton of Prism Silver Luka cards, that's like just a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what the whole world of Luka rookie cards is. And for Dr. J, you could have his entire PSA 10 pop by having one card. Now, granted, that card's going to be super expensive, but it just kind of proves and just the point I'm trying to make is just like, look around a little bit more and like figure out how many of certain cards there are. It's just like, it just seems insane to me that like people are only looking at one card, one type of card. They have blinders on to the rest of the cards out there. There's so many different cards in this world. There's so many players, so many rookies, vintage cards, modern, patch autos, silvers. Just, I don't know. The rant is going on and I'm kind of losing track of it, but you kind of get what I'm saying.
Dude, 100%, man. And you know, another virtue of vintage, and I say this owning zero vintage and never having been a vintage fan, but another virtue of vintage is the simplicity of vintage. It's just like you said, each player just has one card. You know, you don't need to figure out what the main brand is or what the key sets are. You don't need to worry about trying to constantly be guessing what set is coming up next, which can be fun. With vintage, it's real cut and dry. And in fact, I think vintage provides an excellent entry point to the hobby for new people who want to make a more conservative leap into the hobby to start with. So,
yeah. Someone said there's no interest in Dr. J, and I hear that. Like, he's not playing right now. But eventually that's going to happen to most players unless you're LeBron and Jordan. Like, most players are going to fall into that category eventually where people are going to lose interest in them. And then what's going to happen is he's going to be in the same boat as Dr. J, except he's going to have like a billion rookie cards and Dr. J is going to have 20. So it's just like, yes, that's what's hot right now, but think outside of like what's directly in front of you and what everyone else is talking about at this current moment, and try to think about more like long-term, what's going to play out over the long run. And I understand people are going to make their money flipping the short-term stuff, and I think that's great. You know, there's a lot of money to be made buying something and selling it a month later, you know, while things are peaking or whatever. You know, but if you want something a little bit more interesting for yourself and you want to look at stuff for like long-term investments, there's just a lot of other stuff out there.
There sure is. Okay. Switching topics back to something modern. Zion's weight loss. It was reported that Zion lost 25 pounds of fat and he added 10 pounds of lean, explosive, dynamic, energetic, exuberant muscle. I may have added a few adjectives, but that was basically the nature of the tweet, was that this 10 pounds of muscle was just the greatest muscle ever added to a human being. And then there's a picture where he has a mask on, kind of looks like Bane or something. Okay, and so the media frenzy goes nuts, right? So what do you think about this current hot topic, sports-wise, hobby-wise, Zion's weight loss?
It's 100% hype. Name me one player in NBA history where muscle mass mattered towards their, like, can you? Like, oh yeah, this guy was good because he was, you know, big and strong. LeBron maybe, just because like that's part of his game, but that's not what defines him. So I don't know. Kevin Durant is like super skinny and he never really gained weight, and he's like one of the best players of all time. So it's just like it's a thing, you know. It's news. People are bored and trying to make something out of it, and everyone that owns this big Zion card is posting it because they want to hype their cards. And I think David posted like, if I have to see this picture one more time, I'm going to stab myself. And I kind of feel similar. Like, how many times do I have to see this picture of him wearing a mask? Like, he looks honestly like not that different to me. He's just like a big NBA athlete.
He didn't look that different to me either. Like, that's why I found like the -25 and the +10 to be super interesting. First of all, like physiologically, I don't really think it's very possible to make that type of transformation over that small of a period of time. Maybe it is for like a super athlete like him, but I'm a little skeptical of that. And also, so like the net difference is 15 pounds apparently, but this reminds me when everyone was talking about like Luka and they were like, oh, he lost 30 pounds, you know, over one season to the next. But, you know, unless my eyes were deceiving me, he looked pretty much the same. He still looks a little doughy. He still looks the same to me, you know, like all these body transformation hype things. And like you said, in basketball, it's never really been about physique. It's been more about just athletic prowess.
And skill.
And
someone posted that like Jordan gained weight. I mean, that was like just something he added to his game, right? Because he wanted to get more in the paint and be physical with the Pistons. It wasn't like Jordan wouldn't have been Jordan without extra muscle. It's like, that's not what defines him at all. It's just, that was part of it. It was part of his game that he wanted to expand to go to the next level. I mean, it all adds up, but to say that like Zion is now going to be the next LeBron because he finally lost that weight. I don't know about that.
Joe David says Charles Barkley was 97% body fat and he would bitch slap Zion.
Dude, Barkley was a tough guy, man. I could see that. He's a tough dude.
Man, Barkley was cut back in the day also, man. He's 97% body fat now.
Harden lost weight. Who was the other one? The Nuggets. Dude, I suck at Jokic. He lost a ton of weight. He looked like skinny almost, like really oddly skinny.
It was like Porzingis.
Christina says he looks like Porzingis now. Yeah, but Porzingis doesn't look like Porzingis anymore. He looks like Swolzingis now.
Yeah, Porzingis gained weight, right? Isn't he like?
Okay, yeah, there's a great example. Porzingis put on X amount of pounds of muscle, but he's still playing the same game he was playing before.
Yeah, I don't know. It's all part of the like narrative to hype people up.
Definitely. All right, here's a question from we're coming up on the end here. This one's flying by. McDoyle Sports says, I will be in bed. I'm old, referring to the show tonight. But he said, thought on opportunities to continue virtual shows for buyers.
Yeah, we need to pick those up again. Justin hasn't done one. I think he missed this month. We might need to see if we can pick something up on the virtual card show front. I think that was a lot of fun. It had a lot of momentum and energy around it. It's definitely something that the hobby enjoys during this time.
Yeah, it is. And it's a different way to meet people. You know, you set up shop. I know some guys set up shop all day and they just hang out. They have music playing in the background. They show off their cards. You know, if they're really savvy with it, they have Instagram pulled up on a laptop or a tablet as well as their phone so they can be responding to messages. It's a fun and exciting thing, but, you know, I don't know. I think people you'll never be able to replace the real thing.
Yeah. I hope
go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So next question, DK All Day Trading Card says, why is everyone trying to raid retail shelves and do live breaks? And I wanted to talk about this one too, because I know somebody who loves to break, and that's Christina. And the thing is about doing live breaks, it's like a really safe hedge. It's a way to make a little bit of money doing cards because, you know, you build in a premium for the price of your time, and you get to open cards and you get to enjoy them, and you don't really take on any of the risk. So, like, I understand the impulse to do it, and I think people just see it as entertainment and they enjoy it. So, yeah, I mean, no doubt, especially when the price of stuff on the shelves at the stores is much lower than what you can sell it for if you're selling spots or if you're selling it on eBay. I think that pretty much sums that one up. Oh, what else do we have? Oh, okay. Here's one. Maybe another Josh rant is in order. Maybe not.
Trey Young?
No, not Trey Young yet. You've got two young quarterbacks up on the screen. All right, you are two cards of the same great young quarterback up on the screen, last year's MVP. But you and me have been talking a little bit about guys like Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, and the price of some of their cards relative to some of these young studs. And the same applies to basketball too. We see something similar, Kevin Durant versus Luka and stuff like that. Like, what do you think about Aaron Rodgers cards right now, price-wise?
They are flat, very flat, and I think there's an opportunity there. I mean, I don't know that Aaron Rodgers will ever have that moment in his career where the hype comes back. You know, he's like a little bit older. He's going to have to win a Super Bowl probably to get the attention back on him in the hobby, which would be tough to do. But just, you know, as someone that tries to like look at the hobby landscape as a whole and not just like which young quarterbacks are the hottest right now, you know, Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl. He has the same number of Super Bowls as Mahomes, same number as Breeze. They all have one. He was considered, you know, the best arm talent of all time when he was younger, and still probably is considered to be up there in arm talent, like strong arm, accurate. He's like ridiculously accurate with the lack of interceptions. He's like one of the best of all time at interception rate. And his cards are cool. He's got a lot of cool rookie cards, and a lot of them are really rare. Like his Topps Chrome Refractor PSA 10 pop is like, I don't have the pop with me, but it's really low because the centering is terrible. And, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of other big name rookie cards. He's got like his SP Authentic, which is his RPA, which is a really cool card. He's got an Exquisite RPA, which is at a 225, which is really cool. He's got a Contenders Auto, which is kind of like the big one for football quarterbacks. That one is a sticker, so it's not as desirable, but he's got some cool cards that I've been looking at adding to the ladder. And his stuff has been really flat. It's like a lot cheaper than Lamar Jackson, a lot cheaper than Patrick Mahomes. And should it be more expensive? Maybe. You know, he's sort of like fading in the hobby memories a little bit, but it's just kind of one of those players, you know, where I look back and it's like, you know, in basketball you got Russell Wilson, James Harden, guys that aren't like the hottest thing ever right now, but they're in their own right excellent players and will be remembered, you know, long term. They'll be Hall of Famers and they should get some more due, I feel like.
Yeah, it makes it really hard to figure out, or maybe it makes it easy to figure out what's going on with prices of young players with a lot of potential. Because you look like, so Adam Lefkoe makes a great comment, and it's channeling you, Josh. He says Russell Westbrook shouldn't be going for less than Kyler. Kyler's best case scenario is to become Russell Wilson.
Yeah, that's the sentence. Sorry to cut you off. That sentence right there is always what I remind people of, where it's like people are buying cards of players where their best case scenario is a player who's already cheaper than them. That right there is like a huge epiphany moment that people need to realize, where you're like buying up a player whose best case scenario is someone who's cheaper. It's just like, that doesn't make any sense logically.
Yeah, it makes it tough, and we see this in a lot of sports too. But you know what ends up but that can go two different ways. It can mean that the young talents, their prices will eventually retreat, or you can see what's happening in basketball right now. And in basketball, instead of prices on young players retreating, instead what we're seeing happen is we're seeing the prices on veteran legends go up. So like I'm looking at the ladder's player chart right now, and obviously Cam Newton is number one. His cards are ridiculously hot right now. But then you know who the next players are? Steve Nash, Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant, Devin Booker, Peyton Manning, skip a few more of these younger guys, Shaq, Dwayne Wade, Tim Duncan, you know, in the player ladders, just ranking the key iconic rookie cards market performance. Ken Griffey's Upper Deck rookie card is up here in the top 30. You know, you're seeing Vince Carter is up there, but, you know, that's a unique situation because his retirement was just made official. What you're seeing here is that, you know, in basketball, the Hall of Famers are catching up. Instead of it going the other way around. So it can go two ways.
I mean, if that's true, then like Aaron Rodgers should be one of the next things, right? I mean, it's the same kind of thing.
Man, I think Aaron Rodgers is a hot zag right now. I love that because, man, Aaron Rodgers has diehard cheesehead fans. You know, America's team, whether that's the Cowboys or the Packers or the Patriots or whoever you happen to like. But it's definitely one of the marquee franchises in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers is solidified. You know, people, you know, you can't go to a bar on a Sunday when a Packers game is on the TV and not hear people talking about, oh, Aaron Rodgers would be better than Tom Brady if he had the same things that Tom Brady had. These are discussions that people are having every Sunday because Aaron Rodgers is a terrifically talented quarterback, and that talent level, you know, will always be sort of, you know, exalted by real NFL aficionados. And then he's just an interesting guy culturally too. I mean, I saw him go on Jeopardy one time and like do really well. And what he dates like Danica Patrick or something, I think, or, you know, he's, you know, so like there's a lot going for Aaron Rodgers. And with the way that the sports card market is readjusting right now with all the new entrants coming in, it only takes a couple of guys to say, holy crap, hey, let me look up Aaron Rodgers cards on eBay one day after he has a big game, and wow, his you know, key rookie cards are cheaper than this guy and this guy and this guy. Let me snatch up some of these, and that's all it takes to get that snowball rolling down the hill.
Yeah, and full transparency, I don't own any Aaron Rodgers cards. I don't own any vintage cards even. These are just kind of some of the things that I think about and things that I like to research and look into, or as, you know, once I see some of these other things jumping in price, and it's like, you know, you try to understand why something jumps up in price and why somebody else isn't. And some of them make sense, some of them don't. When they don't, you know, you zag and you buy it. You trust your gut and go for it. So maybe I'll be buying some Aaron Rodgers cards. I don't know. I should have bought Russell Westbrook cards when I said it earlier because
That's right.
his shit went up right after I said that. All of his stuff went crazy, and I should have freaking bought a bunch before. But I don't even. It's not like I'm trying to pump and dump here. I don't own any of these cards. I'm telling you guys kind of what I think live, and then it's too late after I say it.
Yeah, and you know what? There's plenty of hobby insight to go around. There's lots of market inefficiencies, if you want to call them that are happening right now. We could talk about it for 10 hours about all the different things that seem to still be aligning that don't necessarily make a ton of sense and that might, resolve themselves over the course of the next few months. So here's an interesting topic. So Utah card collector says Donovan Mitchell is finally going up, and he is. Donovan
Finally,
Mitchell.
from what? He's never won anything. Like what? I don't understand.
So
I mean, finally.
So I wanted to counter that a little bit because it's a true statement, but the thing is relative to what? So a famous, cliche is that it's easy to pick winners in a bull market, and everybody's going up right now. So the question is, who's going up more than the next guy? And while Mitchell is doing pretty well, you'll really see Donovan Mitchell go up if the Jazz mess around and get to a conference finals or something like that. Then you'll really see Donovan Mitchell start going up.
Yeah, sure. I guess we could say that about like pretty much every player in the NBA right now.
Yeah, right.
To win the championship, yeah, Lucas stuff's gonna go up. What I mean finally is like he did something 2 years ago and he's finally getting due for it. He's like in his 4th year in the league. Like finally what?
Okay,
let these guys,
getting spicy.
Have moments. Like finally Trae Young went up. He had that big game, dude. LeBron, Russell Westbrook, James Harden have had thousands of good games, and Trae Young's had like 20. Like chill out, man. Like let these guys grow and get better. It doesn't have to happen in 1 year. Crazy.
Yeah. Well, you can get these super awkward situations where like a guy is just so hyped that he could do everything under the sun, like win a Super Bowl MVP, and still his market could cut in half. So you're right. Like the speculation just gets to be crazy sometimes.
Yeah. I'm finally on the Mahomes train after his stuff goes down because he won the damn Super Bowl. Like he did it. Now I'm paying attention. He won. He took his team in the 4th quarter and brought him back, and he won. And he is a fantastic quarterback who's proven it 2 years in a row. And now I'm paying attention. Finally, his cards went up.
Yep, absolutely.
I like Donovan Mitchell too. He's in the same boat as Trae Young for me. They're both great players, but like, what are we trying to make them be? I don't understand. Like, are they going to be the next Jordan with their prices? Like, dude, I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. We're just like making them super expensive cards and like Hall of Fame players in their 3rd year. Like, let these guys have some actual moments where they do something.
Rodman says, Trae to the moon.
Yeah, there's a great example. Lillard gets no love, and he actually has done a lot of stuff. Like, he's been in the league a while. He's carried teams. He went to the conference finals with, like, a team of, like, a bunch of guys I've never even heard of, and he gets 0 love. Like, to me...
And you want to talk about a guy who has big games. Damian Lillard has monster games. Damian Lillard averaged, like, 45 points a game for, like, 3 weeks straight.
And he has that like game winner to knock out the Thunder out of the playoffs from like half court. Like he's got these huge moments. He beat the Rockets when they had Howard and Harden, knocked him out of the playoffs with a game winning 3. Dude, he's got like crazy awesome moments in his career. He's never really had a second player on his team. He's refused to go to a big market. He's just sticking with it, and he gets 0 love. To me, Lillard is like the ceiling for Trae Young in a lot of ways. Like, are we ever going to see Trae Young be a better player than Lillard? I don't know. Lillard's prices are like 1/10 of Trae Young. So just, dude, Lillard's cards are freaking dirt cheap.
Yes, they are. And his rookie card in Prism is from the most important year of Prism. So there's a lot going for Lillard even. But Lillard is up this year. I think his Prism-based PSA 10 without looking is at about $400 right now, or maybe it's more. You know, let me look.
81.
581. Brian is on it. Lillard is up to $600 now.
Brian's over there buying cards.
Brian's buying everything we do. Brian has an eBay invoice coming up that has Aaron Rodgers, Damian Lillard, and a bunch of vintage cards on it right now.
And he just listed all of his trays.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the Lillard Prism card's only going up because it's being pulled by like the 2012 Prism hype, not necessarily because of Lillard.
For sure.
Like his other stuff is still super cheap. Dude, you can get like non-rookie gold Prism Lillard stuff for like basically nothing.
Yep. Well, interesting stuff here. I you know, in the Blazers have two of their studs potentially coming back, I think, to play. Collins and Nurkic both perhaps might be coming back. I don't know. Blazers
Those are
yeah, relatively speaking. So I don't know, something to look out for there. All right, guys, we got like 4 minutes left here. Let's see if we can hit some comments. I'm sorry. Well, I have like a whole list of questions here that we didn't get to, but the chat was lively on this holiday weekend. Sholey 2003 says, no one invested in Lillard, so they don't hype him. It's not about what they do on the court these days. I think there's a lot of truth to that. We definitely want to have the hot player of the moment, and we in hobby terms, and you know, it definitely does not always correlate to on-court performance one way or the other.
The thing I thought about is like some of those guys like in that range, you know, like from Rodgers up to Lillard, where they were drafted in that range. It was before the hobby was popular at all. You know, their rookie cards weren't really collected because there weren't as many people in the hobby at that time. Whereas today, the rookies who are here, there's so many people in the hobby, so many people buying their cards. The more attached to those rookie cards, there's more hype. And, you know, you forget about the guys that you never collected because you weren't in the hobby at the time of the rookie class.
That's a terrific point. But, and I think there's time to catch up, though. Like, if you want to get involved with a player who's just absolutely electrifying, and you can watch him on League Pass, and he's going to put up 50-point games, like, with some level of regularity, and he's going to lead his team to insane, like, upset victories, and you never know when he just might go off, like, and he's a great leader, and just he really composes himself well. He's a guy that's really easy to root for. That's Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
that's definitely
talking about Harden. Why Harden isn't? Yeah, Harden. I personally don't really like to watch Harden play. It's like kind of painful watching him one-on-one all the time. So he's just like it's like hard to. I know you like watching Harden. I don't know.
I do like watching Harden. That's one of my stupid NBA opinions, is that I get a huge thrill out of just watching Harden do what he does, because it's like watching people try to solve a puzzle on defense that they just can't solve. He just constantly perplexes defenses and creates points, and it's intriguing to watch.
More people talk about Russell Wilson. His stuff is way cheap compared to Kyler and Lamar and stuff, and he's a better player than those two guys. Let's just be honest. Like, he's won a Super Bowl. He's been doing a lot longer. Lamar is like better currently. He's the MVP. He's having a good year. You know, he's playing well. But Russell Wilson is like very consistently great for the last 10 years.
Well said. Blinding 90s points out that there's 15-1 odds for the Rockets winning the championship. You know, the Rockets looked unbeatable for about a month using the small ball approach, and then they looked like a very middling team thereafter. So I don't know. The Rockets are a gamble, but like I said, Blinding 90s says 15-1 odds for the Rockets winning the chip. Don't hesitate. So, okay. Interesting take there. Let's see if we can squeeze in a few more. Rodman says, is Kyrie forgotten in the hobby?
Dude, like, that guy can't get out of his own way. Every time he says something, he just like hurts his own value.
Right. Indeed.
Ever since he left LeBron, he just can't do anything right.
Yeah, that's, you know, he did make a big shot. He made that big shot. He's another guy who can put up a bunch of points. You know, here's one of my hot takes on the NBA really quick. Kyrie's very first game with the Nets, he put up like 55 points, and I was like, man, if I was on his team and I came into the locker room with him, I would be like, dude, what the hell, bro? Pass the ball. This is your first game with us.
He is an interesting guy.
He is definitely an interesting guy. All right, I think we're running out of time here, man.
Yep, I expect all Donovan Mitchell fans to now blast me like I did pretty young. It'll be fun.
Don't let Ross watch this.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be mad at me. All right, we got 30 seconds. We'll be back next week for crossover. Check out cardladder.com. Get your free pack. Check out @cardladder Instagram for details on how to get a free pack. Can't hurt to try, right?
Cannot hurt to try. And you know what? We appreciate the help too.
And I have a new interview on Sunday. It's gonna be awesome.
The future is here. An innovation that will change the way the industry works. A Hot 100 chart, updated daily. The most accurate price guide on the market. Every card has its own profile with a wealth of information. Know the precise, real-time value of any card in the system. On demand. You now have the power to unlock the secrets of the hobby. The game changer is here. Card Ladder.